The water lilies hang in a room built just for them, curved walls of blue and green stretching in every direction. Millions walk through every year. They stand close, they lean in, they whisper about the light, the colour, the peace of it. Almost no one asks the one question that matters. Could Monet actually see any of this? By his 70s, cataracts had settled into both his eyes, quietly rewriting the world in front of him. Red turned muddy. Pink turned pale. Yellow crept into everything, like fog that never lifted. He kept painting anyway, trusting eyes that were already lying to him. Then, in 1923, doctors gave him something no one expected: a second chance to look. And when Monet finally saw his own paintings clearly, he didn't just feel surprised. He reached for a knife. Claude Monet built his entire career on something most painters treated as background: light. Not objects, not form, but the way sunlight shifted across a haystack at dawn or scattered over water at noon. His whole method depended on trusting exactly what his eyes told him, moment to moment, colour to colour. Which makes what happened next almost cruel. Around 1907, something changed. Art historians studying his Venice paintings noticed it first. Distant buildings, once crisp, had started to soften, to blur at the edges. Nobody thought much of it. Monet's style was already loose, already impressionistic. A little more haze looked like artistic choice, not warning sign. By 1912, doctors confirmed it. Cataracts in both eyes, the right one worse than the left. The disease meant to blur his vision was hiding in plain sight, disguised as the very style that made him famous. Here's what a cataract actually does. It clouds the lens of the eye, slowly from the inside, filtering colour like dirty glass over a window. For Monet, that filter turned the entire world yellow. Red stopped looking like red. He described it as muddy. Pink turned insipid, drained of life. The soft, intermediate tones, the ones that gave his gardens their depth, simply vanished from view. He couldn't read sunlight anymore, the one thing his career had been built on. And here's the detail that makes it real. Monet reportedly began labelling his own paint tubes because he could no longer tell one colour from another just by looking at his palette. Imagine that. The most famous colorist in the world guessing at red, guessing at green, trusting handwriting instead of his eyes. And still, he kept painting, believing every stroke was accurate, believing the deep oranges, the heavy reds bleeding into his water lilies were simply what Giverny looked like now. They weren't. They were what his disease looked like. For over a decade, Monet refused surgery. And he had reasons. Cataract removal in the early 20th century was still a brutal gamble. He'd watched it fail before, up close. Fellow painter Honoré Daumier went under the knife and never picked up a brush again. Mary Cassatt suffered the same fate. Monet knew exactly what he stood to lose. "I prefer to make the most of my poor sight," he wrote. "Even give up painting if necessary, but at least be able to see a little of these things that I love." His friend Georges Clemenceau, statesman, former physician, pushed him relentlessly toward help, desperate for Monet to finish the water lily panels promised to France. But by 1921, Despair had taken over. Monet tried to withdraw the paintings entirely, a man caught between two unbearable choices. A fading world he understood, or a cure he didn't trust. By 1922, Monet was legally blind in one eye. There was no more room for refusal. He finally agreed to surgery under Dr. Charles Coutella, a respected Parisian ophthalmologist. The procedure itself sounds almost medieval. Monet lying flat on his back, sandbags packed around him to prevent even the smallest movement. Afterward, 10 days immobilized, his eye newly emptied of its lens, bandaged in darkness. And Monet did not endure this quietly. He argued with his caregivers. He grew restless, non-compliant, at one point tearing at his own bandages. In a letter to Coutella, he didn't hold back. "It is to my great chagrin that I regret having had this fatal operation," he wrote. "Let me tell you that it is criminal to have put me in this situation." Complications followed. Clouding returned. Objects curved unnaturally. Double vision set in. The surgery meant to save his sight had, for now, only deepened the distortion. Eventually, the fog began to lift. New corrective lenses arrived, crafted by Zeiss, fitted by ophthalmologist Jacques Mawas. Monet called them perfect. And for the first time in years, he could actually see clearly. He turned that clarity toward his own recent work. What he saw horrified him. Canvases soaked in heavy reds, garish oranges, brushstrokes he'd trusted completely while painting blind to their true color. None of it matched the Giverny he remembered. None of it matched the world he thought he'd captured. This was the moment everything collapsed into focus. Every muddy red, every insipid pink, every warning sign had been real, and he simply hadn't been able to see it happening. His response wasn't quiet acceptance. He destroyed some of those paintings outright, unable to bear looking at them. Others he attacked with a brush, painting over the garish tones with the colors he now knew were true. The cure had shown him exactly what the disease had cost him. But something stranger happened next. The natural lens in our eye does more than focus light. It filters out ultraviolet rays, invisible to nearly every human on Earth. Monet's lens was gone. Some researchers believe that without it, his eye let ultraviolet light through, unfiltered, for the first time. A faint, whitish blue no one else could perceive. By 1924, observers noticed blue had quietly overtaken yellow as the dominant color in his work. It's still debated, but if true, it means that in the final years of his life, Monet may have glimpsed a spectrum closer to what a bee sees than what any of us will ever witness. Today, the crowds still gather in that curved room, phones raised, admiring blues and greens they assume were always there. Almost none of them know what sits behind those colors. A world drowned in yellow. Paint tubes labeled by hand because his eyes could no longer be trusted. Canvases destroyed in shame the moment he finally saw them clearly. And perhaps, in his final years, a flash of ultraviolet light no human eye was built to hold. Monet once wrote that his sensitivity had only sharpened with age, not faded. Looking at what he endured, and what he still managed to paint through it, maybe that was true. We see his water lilies. He was the only one who ever truly saw what it cost to make them.